Indiana for homecoming at 3:30 on ABC.
Thanks, Ben. Just following up on the Minnesota game, I thought we had a pretty workmanlike approach in that football game as we went through it. Came out of it 5-1. We're 3-0 in the Big Ten. So a lot of positive things, and there are also things we need to correct, as we talked about on Sunday night. IU comes here 3-3. They've played three outstanding opponents that they have lost to, in Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. So they've been up against a little bit, but been very impressed with how they play the game. They play hard. They play hard. They come and get you on defense. I think they tackle effectively on offense. They give you a variety of problems. Got some very good pass catchers, receivers. Found a guy in the running back as a freshman. I think they've inserted Peyton Ramsey as a quarterback. I've known Doug Ramsey, his father, for years, probably since 1995. So I know what kind of background he comes from and what type of person he is and player he is. Coach Allen has done a tremendous job with the program, and it'll be a challenge for us coming up here. So I'll take some questions.
Mark, obviously 5-1 is the most important thing in the world, but in some of the games, it seems as if it's been a struggle down the stretch to close them out a little bit. I'm sure you're concerned about it, but how do you address it, or is it just the fact of having such a young team?
I think, things speed up a little bit on you at the end of a game, and, you got to get off the field, or you got to make a first down, whatever you got to do, and make some mistakes probably. But I think as much as anything, though, it's the competition you play against. I mean, we play against good football teams that are well coached, and nobody quits. And what you saw in Minnesota last week is 23-6 score, and all of a sudden they get one, then we get one, and it's 30-10 or whatever it is, I guess 30-13, and you feel like the game's pretty much over. We're on the field for 4 plays defensively, sitting on the sideline, and not ready mentally to come back in and play. But we were able to grab it at the end, persevere through it, and somehow somebody got it done. And if you look at the week before, had to grind it out there too. Didn't want to grind it out. Some of it was maybe things we couldn't control. Some of it were things that we could control. And then even the week before that, the Iowa game, we're playing good football teams that are well coached, and they've got players that play through the end of the game. But we are where we're at. We're at the top right now.
Mark, when you look at their quarterback situation, Ramsey's there, Lego played last year. I guess, do you prepare for both especially after last week, have them see both guys, and how much do you, I guess, adjust for each different guy?
Well, I think they're different. It seems like they've gone in that direction with Peyton right now, but I think Laglo is a very good quarterback as well, and he can put the ball up. So you have to prepare for either or, but you also have to have a mindset of, okay, this guy's going to play, and this is the direction that we're going to take most of our preparation.
Coach, Kenny Willekes, I know I've asked you about him in the past, but now that you've had a little time to review film after the Michigan game and then last week as well, he's really has strung together some good games. Can you just talk about his progress? I know one guy stands out, and then it takes a team effort, but can you just talk about his progress?
Well, there's a reason he's playing. Everybody said, well, you got a walk-on guy playing at defensive end. There's a reason behind it. He's a good player. He plays with a great deal of enthusiasm and toughness, and he's relentless. And you've seen that in the last couple games, or really the season thus far, and that's contagious. That type of play affects everybody. When people see people playing that hard, it's infectious a little bit. So that's been a positive for us, and as a group defensively, I think we are playing extremely hard. We need to play a little better at times, but we'll play hard.
Mark, with 5 wins now, I'm sure maybe your goals have changed and people's expectations have too, but it was no fun not playing in a bowl game last year. Is there any significance to this 6th win?
Well, you got to win 6 to go. That's my assumption, but really, I've always just approached it one game at a time. Even last year, even when we were coming down the stretch, I felt like we could win our last football game. And so that's the approach we've always taken here. There's not a game that we've gone into that says that we've said, oh yeah, we're going to lose that one. Conversely, we don't go into a game saying you can check that one off, that's a win. It just doesn't happen. I think players, there's too much parity in college football. There's too many people coaching extremely hard, working the entire week, getting ready, both players and coaches, and it's difficult. But you know, right now to be sitting here 5-1 with an opportunity to win 6 is goal number one. That's challenge number one, goal number one. So we'll just try and take it step by step.
Got another one.
Okay.
L.J. Scott, despite the fumble issues,
Yeah.
just seemed to be different the other night. More energy, more acceleration. What was that about?
Well, I think that it was a point of emphasis for us, certainly to try and get our tailbacks running. I thought Madre had a good game as well. You even saw Connor Hayward on kickoff returns. You saw what he could do. Did not play Gerald. So I think we have talent at that position, and we got him going. I think we did a nice job, some of the things that we did conceptually, and we got him, you know, into certain areas to the second level where he could use his skill set, where both those guys could use their skill set. And again, when things start to happen, I think it just becomes, there's enthusiasm with it. There's repetition then, and things just naturally start to occur. So I guess we got on a run. No pun intended.
Obviously a lot of football left to play, but why would you say, or one of the biggest reasons or reasons that this team has gotten back into contention so quickly, and what does that say about the program you've built?
It speaks to tradition that we have here. You know, this is not, you know, 2015 was not, oh, hey, they won a championship in 2015. I wonder how they did that. You know, we'd won others. We'd won a lot of football games here. The expectations and the foundation was to win football games and go to bowl games, and to, you know, we've won double-digit wins here 5 times. So those were the expectations. And when we didn't succeed in doing that last year, there was pain in that. And I think people really, everybody looked at themselves, every coach, head coach included, especially me, but every player I think also did that. Every incoming player did that. And I think they made a commitment to saying, okay, we're going to do what we have to do and give of ourselves a little bit more, or whatever we got to do. But we're going to, however you shake it out. But there was just a little bit more grit, and that's what we did. And that's our approach right now. And there are no givens in this game. And, you know, last year, like I said, we were ahead in every football game at one point in time and had opportunities to win, certainly more than we won. But this game is about the inches that you find. We've always been able to find the inches here to be able to climb back in there and win a football game. And, you know, maybe this year we're finding those inches again. But you got to make plays down the stretch. Even if you give up some, you still have to make a play down the stretch. We've been able to make them.
Mark, a little about the passing game. I know Tristan Jackson was dressed and available. I don't think he played. Was there an update on?
Yeah, we just don't talk about injuries right now. He's got to get himself back.
Nothing long term then? Okay.
No.
But the passing game as a whole, obviously, knock on wood, it might not actually rain this weekend.
Yeah.
Are you kind of looking forward to conditions conducive to kind of being a little more balanced and being able to get that passing game going a little bit more?
Yeah. The bottom line was, you know, we ran for 270 some yards, and, you know, when you're able to do that, you know, that's a positive. So probably didn't have as many 3rd and longs as we'd had in other situations. Even on 3rd and long, we ran the football, you know, because we had a belief system in place that was going to work. So I think it was more about what we were able to, you know, it was just the way the game was being played out, you know, so we just kept pounding the rock.
Mark, over here. Since Keyshawn Martin, you've been sort of searching for that return game to be dynamic. It seems like you're on the cusp of it now with a few different guys. Can you kind of assess where you are, with who, at which position, and how close you feel you are?
Well, Keyshawn Martin is one of the greatest, I think. I mean, he was tremendous as a punt returner and kick returner for us, so I'm not ready to bring anybody into that realm yet, okay? But I thought we got some good production from Connor Hayward last week. We'll see if that continues, and we hopefully that it will. You know, but I thought it was, you know, guys made their blocks too. We got on people.
Does it feel like the guys you have there now, that punt and kick, guys who really have a knack?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, but they're young. There are some young players. So we got to see how it shakes out. We have talent there, though.
So many of your best defensive units here have been really predicated on stopping the run. Last year, not as good at that. Numerically, it looks like you're better. How do you feel just viscerally about how much you've improved in that area?
Well, we've improved greatly, and you look at our players. You know, last year Naquan was not playing. He was redshirted. Naquan Jones, Mike Panasuk was a true freshman. Raekwon was a redshirt freshman. You know, Gerald Owens had just moved over there. Keontae Stallworth was a redshirt freshman. So we had young players. You know, we lost some players coming into the season, which further, you know, hampered us. And we had to bring a couple graduate transfers in. So it was a situation where, you know, we were down a little bit. We had some injuries at that position as well. So a lot of things happened, especially at our linebacker position last year. We lost all 3 linebackers at one point in time. And they're so involved and instrumental really in stopping the run. So a lot of different reasons for this, but I think we've gone back and reaffirmed who we are a little bit, looked at what we've done some things differently. I think moving Coach Snyder to defensive ends and having Coach Burton work with the defensive tackles gives us a better coach-player relationship in terms of, you know, it's about 10-1 rather than 20-1. And there's more carryover there, especially because of the RPOs that we see nowadays and everything. So I think the defensive ends have to play a little bit differently at times. So there's a lot of reasons there behind it. But again, I go back to the bottom line is I think everybody's made a little bit more of a commitment to in terms of what has to happen, technique sound. They're bigger, stronger, faster. These guys are, you know, it's tough when you play as a true freshman. It's just as hard, or a very young player. So I think they're growing up and they're having success. So they feel that and they understand this is what you have to do to win at that position in these different situations. So, but we're halfway through the season, so it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out at the end of the season. And do we continue to do what we have done, which we have. At this point, we have stopped the run.
Mark, what did you see? Josiah has been pretty good all year. Saturday was really the first time he got beat. What did you see from him on film and, you know, being a true freshman, how has he responded?
Yeah, you know, I think that things caught up with us a little bit in the fourth quarter. And again, like I said, I really don't know the reason other than maybe they thought the game was over, which it wasn't. They hit the one dig on him, and, you know, it was well thrown, caught on the run, bobbled, and it was a difficult, you know, relative to the coverage that we were in, it was difficult for him to get down and under on it. But he's had a great season thus far. He just needs to reaffirm his situation. I think we have a lot of confidence in him. I think he's a very good player. And the one thing I know about Josiah is he is a competitor, and he will come back this week ready to play and compete.
Mark, kind of along the lines that you were talking about with the growth and development, when you came into this year, you talked about that growth between game one and maybe the middle of the season. Is it on the pace that you expected, farther ahead, and did you really know, just with how many young players you were going to be playing, how much development and growth there could be?
No, I don't think you ever know. I mean, you know, it's always, I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's a game with, you have young people. You don't know how people are going to handle things in a big crowd or on a big TV game, or maybe people get hurt. So there's a lot of things that you have to deal with, I think. But I do think that, you know, we've just sort of tried to parallel things with different, you know, it's like a graph. You know, you come in like this and you got to get some experience. Maybe you dip a little bit in that graph, and then you start to sort of hit the curve, and you're going to start to go like this. And you start to gain confidence and grow as a person and grow and start to experience good plays, and you get more and more confident, and everybody just sort of starts going like that. And I think that's where a football team is a little bit. You know, I don't think we've peaked yet. I think we're a football team that's still growing. There may be some dips in there as we go, but we're so young that we're not physically dominant yet at certain guys because they're still young. I mean, they're going to grow. We're talking years now. We're not talking this in the next 2 weeks. And their experience is going to grow as well. So I think that we've not peaked even this season. We haven't played our best football game yet, and that's the beautiful thing about this. We haven't hit on all cylinders yet. We played very well defensively in games, had a couple games we played pretty well offensively as well. Special teams been in and out a little bit, but we've not hit on all cylinders yet, and we're still waiting for that. And that's a good feeling when you're the coach, especially when our guys come to practice every day and they work extremely hard, and they have, and they're doing it with a smile on their face, and they see the success that they're having. So that's a positive feeling, and we just need to hold on to that and keep building. And that's what we'll do.
Tough to ask coaches about a satisfaction level when the book's only half written, but hear me out on this one. From where you came from last year, you've talked about respect since the day you walked on campus and even last year. So to this point, how satisfying is it to see this program get back up off the mat, be back in the top 20, and have a respect level again?
Well, that's probably the biggest thing that you're excited about. I don't think there's a person out there who's gone through a difficult time in their life, whether it's business, athletics, whatever it is, that doesn't enjoy sort of rising back up. I just think that's the nature, that's human nature. That when you've been knocked down, that you have that ability to keep pushing through things and get back up. So as a program, as an administration, as a program, I think we all feel like that. But my satisfaction level is 80%. Because we're 4-1. So we're not there yet. We're halfway through the season, so I'm not really ready to sit there and say, okay, we've done this and done that. There's a lot of football left to play, and we need to understand, I think, as a program that we're only as good, and you guys know this is better than anyone, we really are only as good as our last play or our last game. And so we need to grind it out every single day, and that's the message to our players. So as I talk to them, do you want me to ease up or press down? We're going to keep pressing.
2 questions. I'll ask them separate. I know you hate to talk about yourself, but I'm going to ask you to for a minute. Talking to some of your older players, they have all commented that you're as demanding as ever, but you have seemed to made a more conscientious effort to really enjoy this season. They talked about you making more jokes, taking around more visiting, still just as demanding. Will you talk about that side of you? Because the fans don't get to go into practice and see that.
Well, I think the thing is they're laughing at my jokes now, so they're understanding them a little bit better. Because I don't think they laughed at them before as much. But I don't know, you get to a point when you have a tough season like that, you just say, hey, I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm going to do the best I can for our players and for this program. And that's collectively as a group. That's what I've asked everybody to do, and that's what's happened. But it's fun to win. And I just sort of said, hey, I'm going to do what I do, and let's go and love our players and appreciate what they've done. And so that's what we've done. But I don't know that I've changed that much. I've probably still got a little bit of orneriness in me. Let's snap a little bit, but I laugh about it too.
Coach Allen is very respected as a defensive mind, and for years people knew Indiana as offense. How have you seen that defense progress, and what are your thoughts on the Hoosier defense, please?
They have come miles since he's come there. And that's not a knock on anybody else. That's just what he's brought. I think they play extremely hard. They believe in themselves. They're making plays. They have some guys that are playmakers on their defense. They give you a lot of different looks, a lot of different pressures. They're going to get up on you and play you. I think they have skill in the back end, which you have to be able to have any good defense. I just think they're coming. And I think that he's done an outstanding job with their football team and their program, and they're competing at a national level. And that's what you see.
Mark, going to the other side of the ball for Indiana, Morgan Ellison's having a pretty strong year for a true freshman, a guy that you guys were after. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences with him throughout the process and just what he is as a player?
Well, I keep getting on Coach Tressel about, hey, what about this guy here from Pickerington? But he had a broken leg one year, I think his junior, maybe his sophomore year, and then a broken leg the other year, the next year maybe, the other leg. So he was a little bit of an unknown, did well in camps, and then played his senior year. They've inserted him, much like they have Peyton Ramsey, and he's doing the job. So he's a physical running back, 220 or so, and again, he'll be a challenge for us.
Mark, they didn't exactly get an easy start to Big Ten play. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and now you guys. Do you think that kind of is a fine line to walk for a team where it's playing the best can get you up each week, or it can kind of, demoralize you when you're 0-3 all of a sudden?
I think that's this conference, really. And if you look at who we've played these last previous, we played Notre Dame, then we played Iowa, then we played Michigan before Minnesota. So I think it's the conference. I mean, everybody's competitive. There's great football in this conference. I keep saying it. There's very, very good coaching in this conference and excellent football players who play at a high level and expect to win. And everybody that you play expects to win. So it's just competitive, and they have played three tough teams out, coming in, but it doesn't get any easier really as you go through it. Very good. Thanks, guys. Go Green.